Hey, good afternoon. It's a couple days before the full moon on the 28th at about 1:15, 16 Central Standard Time. And full moons are polarity points where the sun, Earth is in Aquarius, and then the opposition is the moon in Leo. So we call it full moon in Leo, which is about joy and play and fun and realizing the heartfelt desires of our inner child. And yeah, we still have adult responsibilities, but the point is to accept those responsibilities with a heartfelt, joyous, even passionate motivation. And the Leo and Aquarius axis, the opposition, is about individual participation, individual heartfelt effort, loyalty, and fidelity based on your community in Aquarius. And your first community is your family. So, and that doesn't mean you have to have 2.5 children. Your community can also be your partner, the ideals that you share as a couple, and then what you also create in a space is what you value. Because we will be talking about values and ideals on our raw materials. And if you haven't subscribed to that channel, I suggest that you do. YouTube channel, our, OUR, raw material. Because part of the Aquarius age is about each of us taking special, individualized effort and responsibility for our evolution and our growth, as spiritual, soulful beings that belong to the multiverses. And now, 90 degrees away from this opposition as a full moon is Mars and Uranus and Taurus. So, now, the sun and moon will have already moved past. And when we talk about moving past, just imagine that the planets are like the planet that's the slower moving planet. Is the dock. That's where you put your yacht or your boat. And then the faster moving planet, as it's coming in to perfect the aspect, is coming into the dock. Well, Uranus has already come into the dock and moved on. So today, the 26th and the 27th, if you've been feeling this kind of unsettled, unpredictable electrical energy, because Uranus and the sun are dancing with each other. Mars, however, will have just passed it. And so remember, full moons are 5 days, 2 days before, the day of, and 2 days after. And you said, well, why is that? Well, to our foreparents, the mythology and the stories about the moon, when it's full, the howling act and the crazy hospital times and what have you, know that they didn't know that the sun was 93 million point miles away. And so, to their vantage point, remember, this is geocentric astrology. So, it's about how the earth looks, how the planetary orchestra looks from our perspective. So, that full moon is really, really powerful. That instinctive part of us, that part of us that attaches and uses our sensate body, that physical emotional connection, to understand what we will do or not do, who we will attach to, who we won't. And with the Mars and Taurus, there can be this fighting for territory, fighting for one's values, fighting to be, there can be fighting for stubborn adherence to what you think is right, what you think is best. And Taurus being a personal sign that operates on the I have energy. Aquarius is transpersonal, which is operating on a planetary, even idealistic scope. And then Leo is interpersonal. So we've got all the different layers of me, mine, and mine coming from the Mars Uranus. Then we've got the instinctive Leo moon coming from how am I connecting? How are we connecting today? How may I serve you? How may my light serve you? So the energy of the dragonfly, which brings in the power of light, is indicated. And then the energies over in Aquarius are not only Saturn and Jupiter, these outer social planets, but Mercury is about to stop and go retrograde in Aquarius. So that indicates our teacher, communicator, and then the philosopher. Because Saturn I see as the teacher. He's the one who gives, he's the English teacher that gives you the B minus when she realizes that you can write an essay on the spot right before class. So she says you're not operating to your best, highest potential. So Saturn would withhold the rewards Whereas Jupiter, or Jupiter as I like to call him these days, the pay it forward prosperity energy, and he's more than just prosperity. Jupiter represents what happens when we soulfully bring all of our resources together and we share what it is that we have. How beautiful is that? And that if we all have it, like for instance, something, a very simple example, everybody in our neighborhood has recycle bins, right? Well, you can put them out there and they can stay a day or two because everyone has recycle bins. But if you're in a place where some people have more and other people have less, then that's where you get the negative side of Jupiter, the excessive privilege that is not used to help anyone else, or the excessive, well, doesn't everybody, or you start to believe in what's called the prosperity gospel, that if people who have less, they must be ethically challenged or something must be wrong with them morally. Nothing could be furthest from the truth. And this full moon, we have like a three-legged table with the Leo moon, all those planets in Aquarius, and then the Taurus, Uranus, and Mars and Uranus. So the empty leg is Scorpio. So part of our lesson is going down there into the deeper part of our being. If we want to use metaphor, we can use Lake Superior at the bottom of that, or we can act like an octopus and walk down on the earth's, the ground of the ocean, and that's where we can be grounded once we get to the deeper part of our emotional and feeling self. But the Scorpio energy as a balancing point is asking yourself the question of transform what? Transform whom? Look in the mirror and remember that the defective repressive mechanism that Stephen Forrest talks about in The Inner Sky with Scorpio is one of its resources, because that defective repressive mechanism gives Scorpio a font of information, psychic, emotional, spiritual, mental, to come up to the surface in order to analyze. Because the water, if it gets fixed, it can get stagnant, Scorpio. So you need additional air, intellect, you need additional freshness in that way. And is there loss? Yes. But one of the things I've learned this week, or in the process of continuing to learn, is the manatee. The manatee can live in brackish water, which is salt and seawater. Salt and fresh water. And in that, sometimes we may have to go to those brackish places where in between the salt and the freshness in order to really analyze and get to the bottom of what it is that we're feeling. But with the Leo Aquarius, it really is about learning after you go into those deep Scorpio water, it's learning to come back out of it and express and circulate your knowledge to all that's around you from a heartfelt Leo place and from a Taurus grounded place. Because like it or not, our values are being transformed. And the way Uranian energy, it's lightning quick. It's one day it's up, next day it's down. But ultimately, it is about that lightning giving us illumination and awakening us to what no longer serves our growth. So I would say, get your Pyrex bowl, clear, put some water in it, and do some water gazing. This is Quan out. Happy full moon.